September 2023 job report. What word best describes Bidenomics? Hello, this is Chart GPT today. Well, the jobs number was out for September 2023, and we can first look at the first chart here where we see that they've added 336,000 jobs, where their expectation was 170. Of course, once again, we see the difference between the establishment and the household survey. And establishment is what employers think, household is what employees think. You can take a look at the AI and the post link in the description box, and it kind of explains that in a little bit more detail. But you can see here on the red line that if you actually take an average of the two, the trend line is down. Jobs are slowly drying up, not falling off a cliff, but yet slowly going down with the Fed rates that are having an effect on reducing the employment situation. So drilling down a little deeper there, we see the indication is that 885 full-time jobs were lost, 1.1 million part-time jobs were added, and a record number of multiple job holders. So looking under the covers, the job market is not as good as what the headline would suggest, and so this is going to be a concern going forward. How long can the Fed hold out with these higher rates? Because we have a Fed meeting in November, so we have to wait and see what they say there. Of course, the Fed is also working on the quantitative tightening. We still haven't even come back before the pandemic. We're about a third of the way back, so we've got a long way to go on the quantitative tightening if we ever get back. So that will continue. Drilling even further down, a lot of people were saying, well, how the stock market has, everybody's kind of waiting for a big 50% sell-off in the stocks, but we have had a big 50% decline. We see that the bond market has had basically, I think it's some people calling it like the worst in 40 years. Here you can see these iShares, this BlackRock, starting in August of 2020 down to kind of a peak to trough, or trough to peak, depending on how you look at it. You can see that the market in these particular series is down 46%. There's a longer term chart you can see here that is probably the worst bear market in bonds, and it's calling it 40% down. During the dot-com, the stocks lost 50%. So we've had this big crash. It's just it wasn't in the stocks, it was in the bond market. So people need to be aware that in fact we have seen a huge sell-off in assets there. Obviously, if that bleeds into your 401k, depending on your allocation, that's going to be quite severe. It's like losing half the value if you're in bond funds. So that's interesting there. Then, of course, the other thing to look at in terms of how the economy is doing, in terms of Bidenomics, we're now approaching really close to 8% on the 30-year fixed mortgages for housing. Of course, that's killed the housing market. Give me an example. It's kind of a simple thing. If you had like a $200,000 mortgage buying a house, some interesting formulas there to work out for you. We've had a 61% or 62, let's call it, percent increase, not counting insurance and taxes, in terms of the cost of owning a home if you're purchasing with a mortgage. And more, so this is actually killing. This is why it's killing the housing market. Is you've had a huge increase, way in excess of inflation rate. So that is a point that a lot of people are worried about when it comes to the Bidenomics. Here's a kind of a poll. Of course, now this is put out by it's a CBS YouGov, and it kind of shows what is Bidenomics, what comes to mind. 50% higher inflation, 49% tax increases, and only the infrastructure spending that was coming was only 34%, and job creation is down at 32%. So not a lot of positives there. People were asked financially, are you ahead? Only 13% said ahead, 35% falling behind. The rest are just marking time. Because it's just kind of a thing here. How would you best describe the U.S. economy? 61% struggling, 56% uncertain, 36% unfair. You can see that. We kind of put our own poll together. You can check out the look on the post link in the description box, so you can take our poll and see what word best describes your feeling about Bidenomics. Anyway, this is going to bleed into the 2024 election. The Bidenomics situation is not good. Don't forget to subscribe.